All right, welcome to the fourth morning power up video. So wherever you are across the world, let's take our sparkling water. Let's take a sip together, and let's get this thing kicked off. Also, if you have a sword, now might be a good time to draw it, and have it nearby. For some reason, having a sword around you just makes you feel more powerful. I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but it must be like some law of the universe tapping into like our ancestral memories of war and conquest, but it's just a good idea. So if you have one, grab one. It's a good idea. Now today, I've got some fun things to share with you guys. We launched the new system yesterday. Now this is connected with a big complete overhaul of the entire it's like HU3. It's a big part of it. We kind of snuck in a little bit early for you guys. Some of you guys are asking some questions. There's been a lot of questions about what you should do in relations to the beginner sprints, right? So if you're doing the beginner intermediate sprints, should you finish those and then go into the beginner boot camp, or should you just focus on the beginner boot camp? What's going to happen to the sprints? Are they going to get, deleted or whatever? So, and essentially, yes, right? As we've gone through this program, the actual content, the material that I provide for you guys, it evolves and it improves over time, right? So there's new versions of it that I create. Before there were these old tutorials, and then I created the sprint system, and now I've created this boot camp system, and it evolves, right? It's continually evolving, right? You stick around here long enough, and it's all going to get better, right? There's going to be something after the beginner boot camp, or there will be an enhanced version of the beginner boot camp, in the near future, obviously. So if you're halfway through the beginner sprints, or if you've done all the sprints, you still should go back through and do the entire boot camp process all over again, right? Some of you guys who have finished it all the way, who are experienced or maybe advanced intermediate people, you can go through, watch the videos, and maybe do one or two of the practices as you go along and get the quiz and make your way in there. If you are just getting started, if you're just getting started on the actual sprints, though, you should start from the very beginning. Right. This beginner bootcamp process is designed to forge you into the kind of copywriter who makes the money, right? It's going to fill in a lot of the gaps that would exist if you just went through the sprints, right? It's designed to do that. It's designed to take care of those deficiencies. So you should definitely go through the program, right? That first day is extremely important, right? The videos about the core values, the videos about how to ask questions and how to learn, those are like the foundation for helping you become the kind of person that's going to be able to absorb the rest of the material in the beginner sprints, right? So you need to go through those. You need to watch those. You need to perform the practices, right? And one of the big things that we've introduced, one of the big parts of our culture here in the copywriting campus, is the idea that we do a lot of push-ups, right? Do more push-ups is one of the main modules of that first day. And a lot of you guys have been doing this. It's been fantastic. You guys have noticed a difference, but I wanted to talk a little bit with you guys about some of the deeper reasons why we do push-ups in this program, right? Because at first it might seem a little strange, right? It's like, hey, you're teaching me how to write copy, you teach me how to do sales, you teach me how to be, you teach me how to understand business. Why do I need to do push-ups, or why are you encouraging us to do push-ups, right? Seems a little disconnected. But if you think about it, sales is a transference of belief across a bridge of trust, right? For someone to trust you, they have to respect you. For someone to feel your beliefs, you have to believe them strongly. For whatever reason, the more push-ups you do, the more you practice pushing yourself off the ground or pushing the earth away from you, however you want to think about it. For some reason, the more of that you do, the more it trains your brain to feel strongly, to have a strong will, a powerful will. You develop a better physique. People, for some reason, they can feel that strength of character that you've developed, and it causes them to respect you more. It causes them to trust you more, and it gives you a stronger force of will as you approach the grind, the task that you have to do in order to be successful as a copywriter. So the more push-ups you do, the more you do throughout your day, the stronger you're going to be. And not just the stronger your triceps, your pecs are going to be, right? But the stronger your mind's going to be. We improve our capacity to do difficult things by doing difficult things. And push-ups can always be difficult. You can always push yourself for an extra 10, 5, single rep. You can go to failure. You can beat your PRs. You can always have something difficult to struggle with push-ups. you never beat push-ups. No one ever beats push-ups. There's always a more difficult variation. There's more reps. There's always a way to find that bleeding edge of difficulty and throw yourself against it. And the more you do that, the better your personal capacity for influence is, right? It's core. So if I just taught you copywriting skills and I did not encourage you to develop the mental aspect or the strength of will, I would be doing you a disservice. You need that in order to be successful. It's one of the original like lessons of HU2, like the go to the gym, develop a physique so people will respect you. It's fundamental to what we believe here. Plus, it's fun to see you guys compete against it, right? Seeing who can do the most reps, who can do the best form, who can do the XYZ. It's an entertaining thing from my perspective as well. But it's a very powerful tool, and I want you all to really actively do that. A lot of people have been saying they do like, hey, I do a set of push-ups between every lesson, or, as I do the practice, I do X amount of push-ups. For some reason, doing the physical activity also helps sink the lessons into your brain. I don't know. There's a lot of cool reasons why you should do it. So highly recommend you guys make a point of doing that. You talk about it in the chats, you talk about it with each other, because it's going to enhance your progress through this program, and it's going to help you become the kind of person that deserves millions and millions of dollars much faster than if you ignore that. So keep the push-ups up. It's important stuff. Now I'm going to open it up here for the chat for a second. So like the next 20, 30 seconds, if you have any questions about the new beginner system that I haven't covered, go ahead and ask them real quick. I might answer one or two, but just post it there in the chat and I'll answer some of the questions that come through. Yeah, the old tutorials are dead and they're gone forever. The old tutorials, yeah, deleted, gone. Do you get to pick your legion? No, you don't get to pick your legion. So once you go through the entire program and do the quizzes, there's a quiz you do at the end to get a unit. You can only do that once. If you try and do it twice, it won't let you in for like 10,000 years or something crazy like that. But if you do the quiz, it'll give you a unit, right? And it assigns your legion randomly because that's how this world works. You're going to be assigned a unit, and then that becomes your family. So you find a way to make that work. But yeah, it's completely random. Will a sprint still be available in the boot camp? The boot camp is an upgraded version of the sprint. So the material that you learn, the resources you get, they're all included inside of the new beginner boot camp, but they're just improved. And there's new stuff layered into it to make it more effective. So you don't need to worry about like still accessing the old sprint material. I'm going to take all that stuff off. It will be gone from access for anybody, because the beginner bootcamp is going to have everything you got in the sprints plus more. So yeah, don't worry about it. If you're at the end of intermediate sprints, go back through, do the beginner program, watch the videos, perform as much of the practice as you think you can. You're going to go through the videos and be like, that's a weak spot that I didn't realize before. Once you identify those weak spots, then you do the practice, then you double down on it. I'm trusting you guys to be mature about this, right? I've opened it up to where you can just you can go through the quizzes and go through each of the days of the beginner boot camp basically as quickly as possible if you've already gone through the beginner sprints, right? If you're an intermediate copywriter or if you've gone through all that stuff, you can go through the quiz. You can just go through and do it all, right? But I'm trusting you to be mature about it because I trust you to have your best interest in mind, right? You need to make sure your foundation is dialed in, right? That's the first thing. That's the most important thing, right? So you need to go through those materials, find your weak spots that existed from the first time you went through the sprints, find your weak points that are now going to be covered inside of the new beginner program. Do the actual work, watch the videos, accomplish the missions, go through the quizzes, make sure you have that stuff dialed in for yourself, then move on. And that way, by the time you start reaching into the part where you're reaching out to clients, you're going to be dialed in, you're going to have more options, and you're going to be better suited for it. So definitely, definitely go back through the entire program. But I'm trusting you to be mature about it, right? You need to go through and take the value that you need from it and not just blare through it. People are asking about, once you finish all day 14, then you take, there's a little quiz at the end. It just randomly assigns you to a unit. You're going to be added to your unit, and then the unit commanders are going to take over from there. They've got some fun things. Like those of you who are already in a unit know what I'm talking about. They've got some cool things going on in there. Some of you guys are getting an invalid signature on your quiz day 1. So there's some issues with some of that. You might want to try different browsers. You need to refresh. There's some people, like every 100,000 person who goes through or something like that has an error like that. You need to refresh and you make sure you're logged into the right Discord account. I'm going to be going through it today and tomorrow and forever in the future and fixing any kind of login bug. But if you have anything, just hold tight, try refreshing, try a different browser. If it doesn't work, Just hang tight. We'll get you taken care of. What should you do now when you're prospecting, but the new system is in place from the beginning? Just go through the videos. You'll find some new tips and tricks on how to prospect better, some new places you can look for clients, and then just use that to modify your approach. Yeah, there are new ways to find prospects. Yeah, there's a whole section on a completely new untapped market for you guys to start working with. Definitely start going through that. Are some legions better than others? I wouldn't say so. We've got fantastic commanders. The guys that we have in charge are some of our star apprentices. All our apprentices are good. The ones who aren't actively leading a legion right now are acting as like drill sergeants, let's say, for the beginner boot camp process. So there isn't like some legion that's better than other. When you show up to a legion, though, this is a good thing, right? So most of you guys, again, like I said on the last call, a lot of you guys were robbed this by modernity, right? Men are supposed to show up to a unit, right? You're supposed to be born into a village, to be join an army. You're supposed to be in a unit like this. And back in the day, you really didn't get to choose your unit. It was just like where you were born, right? So when you showed up in a unit, you grew up, you were Spartan, you were chosen, you did the whole Agage training. It was your job once you were assigned a unit to make that unit amazing, right? So you show up, and it's your job to find ways to help other people, to help teach other people, to build yourself up into the best version possible and make the unit the best, right? You contribute to the unit. So any of you who are like worried about being assigned to this unit or that unit, like you need to change your thinking and realize it's going to be up to you, no matter which unit you are, to show up and become the best version of yourself and help that unit be the best version it can possibly be. So definitely be prepared to dive in and work, right? Each unit, again, we're going to compete against each other. One's to say the other one's not as good. That's part of the game, but it doesn't matter. When you show up in a unit, it's up to you. It's your responsibility to make the most out of it and help that unit win. That's the whole goal. And that's going to help you become better, and it's going to help everyone else in your unit become better. So get ready for advancement, right? This is something that doesn't exist in the outside world. You don't have the opportunity to use competition to build yourself into the best version of yourself in any other, let's say, educational process or transformational process. It's all been sanitized, right? There doesn't exist. This is going to help you and generally, again, if there's any females here, good for you, right? But generally, as a young man, this is the best way. This is some of the most powerful motivators that will help you rise to the occasion the best, right? This is what's going to help you learn it the best. I pulled out all the psychological tricks I know. I'm going to continue to stack them to make this to where you are going to learn and grow and become the best version of yourself and earn the most money possible because of the way this is structured, because you're in a unit, because you've gone through a beginning forging process, because you are now working together and competing against other teams, because you are now forced to innovate to win. Like, this is going to make you the best you can possibly be if you embrace the process, if you show up and are willing to put in the work to make yourself the best version possible and make your unit the best version possible. So that's sort of the information on the new unit. We talked about how cool push-ups are and why we should do them. That's one of the things I promised I'd talk about. And now I want to go over a tweet by Andrew Tate and how it applies to you in your life. Now, this tweet is no longer available. You can't see it in the outside world. It's on a different platform now, but I have access to it. And I'll show you how to get access to it. I'm going to post it to my IG story after this. So I'll throw my link in there too, so you can see my Instagram, but I'll put it in my IG story so you guys can all see it. And I'll link to it so you guys can now know where to look for it. But this is an important idea, an important concept that Tate talks about that I want to discuss with you and how it pertains to us inside of the copywriting campus. So I'm just going to read it. So, and then we'll talk about why I think it's important. So he says, action is more effective than manifestation. Action is more effective than dreaming. Action is more effective than hoping. Action is even more effective than planning. Do more, go, right? Action is more effective. And he says all these different things. Something to keep in mind here, something that's interesting is the idea, the value here, like the thing that we're trying to hold up is the ideal is action. And the reason it's so cool compared to all these other things is that it's effective, right? It creates results. It transforms the world. It gets you what you want, right? So these other things, manifestation, dreaming, hoping, planning, they might be effective. They might be helpful, but they aren't the most effective. They don't create the most effects compared to action itself. Action actually creates effects in your life, right? Now, that's not to say the manifestation, having a vision for what you want, dreaming about it to some degree, or even hoping for that future at some point, having some level of hope and sitting down and planning isn't valuable. You should still do those to some degree. However, most people and a lot of you have found yourself in your life avoiding the pain of action by like going into manifestation or dreaming or hoping or planning even, and like spending all your time and energy there, because that's a lot easier than action, right? Planning, manifestation, writing affirmations, all that stuff, it's a lot easier than action. And a lot of you spend more time doing it than you should, just because it's a way for you to feel like you're being productive, feel like you're doing the right thing without actually doing something difficult, right? So the key is to spend as little time possible doing those things. Sure, you should still plan. You should still have an idea. You should still think. You should have a vision. Like you should have those things, but you should spend a second extra doing those things when you could be taking action. So once you have direction, once you have information, you should be acting. Your day should be filled with massive amounts of action. You should be going through the beginner boot camp. You should be doing your push-ups. You should be training. You should be working. You should be improving yourself. You should be reaching out to clients. You should take all of your available time that you spend on dreaming and manifestation or relaxing. You should take that time and force it into action, because action is the only thing that will produce results in your life. You performing actions is how you are going to earn and receive everything wonderful that you want in your life. It's all on the other side of action. So, as we conclude this stream, as we sheathe our swords, take the last sip of sparkling water, and get back to our work, I want you to make it today a day of action. I want you to take every available second you have, and instead of like putting it in anything else, I want you to dedicate it towards taking massive action towards your goals, towards learning and improving the content inside the beginner chats. I want you to spend all your time going through the beginner chats, the beginner boot camp. I want you to spend all your time going through that. I want you to spend your time doing push-ups. I want you to spend your time improving yourself. I want you to spend your time performing actions that will give you the results you want, because that is the only way you will ever win. That's the only way you will receive what you want. So with that being said, we're going to end this call. We're going to get back to our work, and it's going to be a great day. Let's go out there, take some money. Let's conquer the world. I'll talk with you guys again tomorrow.